What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Ghost Gabbers. I'm Joe.
I'm Jason.
And we are here to talk about ghosts.
And hopefully two ghosts.
Exactly. So today's little session, if you want to call it, what we're going to be working on or talking about is different modes of communication that we use to try and connect with the spirit world.
Now, everybody is familiar with, obviously, voice recorders. We have a couple other devices here that we want to call alternate devices. If you obviously, you guys can see the K2 meter, which we've gone over already before. But we're going to go over a few other things here. Some of these are really simplistic. We're going to start with the most simplistic one. And if you're in, you guys know what these are.
Dowsing rods.
Dowsing rods, okay.
Now, within dowsing rods, old school, they used to use just twigs, wood sticks, and they used to use it to try and find water sources for paranormal. These are actually copper made. Copper is supposed to be a little bit more infused within the spirit world just to try and amplify things up with the electromagnetic
Yes,
energy.
because copper conducts electricity.
So by using that, it kind of can get manipulated when you ask certain questions. Within using these specific rods, you have to make sure, go ahead and tilt your hand up a little bit. The moment you lift it one way or another, it can be manipulated and do whatever it is. So you have to do these things accurately or else you're going to get a false reading and everything is going to be
You can
haunted.
see how stiff I'm holding my hands and there's no movement. Now, if we were to ask questions, we would specifically use cross the rods as yes or no, depending on the situation, just kind of go with the flow.
And as he said, yes and no questions. Don't ask, what time of year is it? And try to get an answer.
Or what's your name or something like that.
Yeah, keep it as simple as possible. Right. Just remember what you're dealing with. If you're trying to communicate, if you're trying to connect with anything, make it as simple as possible. We don't know who we're communicating with or what we're communicating with. So.
And as always, when you're asking a question, pause. Make your question short and do a pause so you can have time for any entity to react. Now we're going to put those down. Very basic there. The next basic thing is the flashlight.
Now, yeah, if you've heard of the flashlight theory or the flashlight test, with the mag light, it's the best one to use it with because one of the things about the mag light is a twist top. So within the twist top, you're going to go to the setting to where it's just barely on, but a light touch is going to turn it off. And you want to turn it off. Now, the theory behind this is you ask your questions, the same thing with the dowsing rod. You ask the question, does anybody here right now? And if they have enough energy to manifest, they can actually tap on this thing and their energy can allow it to turn on. And then if it stays on, you ask it if you can turn it off and then it goes off. Has been effective for several people. We just acquired this, so...
I haven't had a chance to test it out in the field. Once again, simple yes or no answers.
Exactly. Try, once again, the best thing you can do is try not to go into a full-on conversation and cutting yourself off, which means you're not giving yourself that extra time to allow the energy to communicate back.
Right.
What's your name? What year is this? What's his name? What shirt am I wearing? You're not going to get any answers, or the first answer you're going to get is yes. What was the yes for? Oh, the yes was for my shirt.
Plus the continuous talking, you may end up talking right over an EVP. So
exactly. So moving forward, we want to try and keep these things as short as possible because my attention span is that of a doorknob. So you turn my doorknob and I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyways,
this is a little new device we got. This is a spirit box now.
The SB7 to be specific. There's a couple of them out there. This one's the SB7.
This is a tonal speaker we can put on. We're not going to demonstrate this right now because it's going to make too much noise. And
we can turn it on.
We can turn it on, yeah.
So if you've seen these things out in the field, if you see them on the TV shows,
I can't see the off-on button.
Right.
This one?
Yeah. So pretty much personal. Mainly what you're doing is you're trying to communicate with a spirit or spirits by using the AM or FM radio stations in the static. So you can find, let's just say 87.9 when you first turn on your radio, brand new, and it starts off at bare nothing and it's just static.
You know how to work it better than me.
That's right, baby.
Good boy. But yeah, the theory there is that it rapidly goes through different frequencies, which allows any energy to communicate through that frequency, which may not be conducive to the actual hearing of human beings. So
when you're dealing with this one particularly, this one also within this can also detect temperature readings. So it can also give off a somewhat loud sound. I'm gonna turn it on right now. When you hear it, there's also a red dot here. So if you're only visualizing it, this red dot will go off if there's a temperature change in your area. Hits this antenna, starts going off. High-pitched noise happens when it starts getting colder. That high-pitched tone starts going a little bit lower and a little bit lower. When that happens, there's a temperature fluctuation, and if you can try and see where you're at, if there's no reason for it, start conducting the EVP. Anytime you have a fluctuation of temperature, start an EVP immediately. Grab your phone, start recording. Use the video to try and get audio as well. Grab a voice recorder, anything that amplifies audio.
Not saying that the temperature change is actually a ghost per se. It could just be the environment. But if you're in an area where it's like sealed off and all of a sudden you feel a cold breeze or even a warm breeze come through where there should be no breeze at all, that makes you question, and that's why he's saying immediately start using other devices to document that.
Yes. Now back onto this real quick so you guys can hear what it is. We're only going to do it for a small period of time. If you can hear the static, we're keeping it right now. It's at a 94.4 FM, I believe. Pure static, nothing going on. Eventually what's going to happen within the radio frequencies is it's going to grab something and you're going to hear some speaking, and it could be any number of things within that frequency, from radio stations, commercials, or whatever's going on in music being played. You're going to hear it.
That's where the controversy with this device comes in.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, including me, feel that it could be more manipulated. But I'm also willing to use any device to enhance our investigations. And that's part of what we talked about before with when you have a team. It's good that you don't all have the same exact views, because it opens you up to being better investigators.
Yeah. So as we continue, this is steady, 94.4. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to scan going in a fast motion going forward. And once we start this, the sweep rate, we're going to start going into, okay, we have that. Let's go forward. Whenever it wants to go. Doesn't want to go.
Doesn't want to go.
So we're going to go in reverse. As you can see, it's scanning down, and you can actually change how fast or how slow it's going to go if you want to go in a forward or reverse motion. Within this, you can hear it. A couple words here and there.
Yeah.
Once again, those are the parts where Jason was talking about, that it can be manipulated to where if you hear something.
Keep in mind, when you're in a large urban population, you're going to pick up radios, TVs, walkie-talkies, anything like that. So that's why I'd say there's a controversy about it. And this is probably best used like in a remote area.
Mm-hmm. Go out into an open field. Let's
Right.
just say Death Valley.
Yeah.
You're going to get absolutely nothing. Your cell phone usually uses service. Your radio loses everything, so you have to go to the CDs.
Right.
That's the best time to use it, when you know you have absolutely nothing to interfere, except for
Yourself.
those people. Oh, yeah. That's a different episode.
Whole other thing. Okay, so
So-
now the last one, like I said, we're all familiar with this. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
The K2.
K2.
We can talk about that more. Drop comments. Let us know if you guys are interested in knowing about the K2, how we use it, and what it's used for. We also have another EMF
Right.
detector as well.
Now, I'm going to take this out of it. This little device,
It's a twofer. Because one, it could be a trigger object, which means that it can actually cause
See?
something or someone to want to go to it because
Right.
it looks a little bit old-fashioned. And what it does is it's man-powered.
so, am I going the wrong way? Hey, what's going on? There we go. It is a music box. This particular one plays Over the Rainbow, which would be really good to try to communicate with a child, most likely. But as you see, the only way for it to make noise is for me to actually turn the crank. So if you did have this on an investigation and it was playing, that means there's a pretty good energy there manipulating it. And yeah, like I said, a trigger object or just another communication device. Very interesting, very low key. Good thing about this, no batteries required.
And that's the thing. You don't need to bring rechargeables.
Right.
You don't need to bring additionals. This thing is man-powered. Same thing with the dowsing rods. Mag light. This particular one is the mini mag light. Takes 2 AAA batteries, so you might want to bring some extra ones because depending on the energy level or something that's trying to drain the energy out of all your electronic devices, your batteries can be one of the first things to go. You can have 6 full batteries. All of a sudden, you're gone through all 6 because the energy level is just shot. Within this, these are just a few tools that we use. There's still plenty more out there. If you have any ideas of which ones that you like,
please share.
Yeah, share it, definitely.
Like I said, even though I'm not 100% sold on the Spirit Box, I'm open to suggestions of anything to help an investigation. And with that,
we'll talk about some more on another episode. Drop some comments, like, share, subscribe, and you'll see all the new things that are going to be coming up in the near future. Again, this is the Ghost Gabbers, where we talk about ghosts.
And hopefully 2 ghosts.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Out.